They come uninvited and leave a mess behind. But think about this. What do you do when a storm hits? Do you stand outside and get soaked, or do you find shelter and wait for it to? That's the first lesson in managing a crisis. Finding your shelter, your calm amidst the storm. It's about maintaining perspective and knowing that this too shall. Some of you might be thinking, that's easier said than done. And you're right, it's not easy, but it's necessary. When a crisis hits, the first reaction is often panic. Panic leads to poor decisions, and poor decisions can turn a crisis into a catastrophe. Here's my first piece of advice. Don't panic. Instead, take a deep breath and ask yourself, what can I control in this situation? What would happen if instead of seeing a crisis as an obstacle, you saw it as an opportunity? I'm not saying it's easy to do, but what if every crisis was a chance to learn something new, to grow stronger, to become better? Ending in, would it change the way you face challenges? When I was in the middle of my crisis, I had a choice. I could either let it defeat me or I could use it as a stepping stone to rise above. I chose the latter. I sought advice. I read books. I worked on myself. And guess what? It worked. The crisis didn't vanish overnight, but my perspective changed, and that made all the difference. So when you find yourself in the midst of a crisis, remember that it's a part of life. It's not the end of the road, but a bend. It's an opportunity to test your strength, to build resilience, and to come out stronger on the other side. Think of it as life's way of saying, let's see what you're made of. Think about that for a moment. How do you see your crisis? Do you see it as a dead end or as a challenge to overcome? When I changed my perspective, everything else changed too. I started seeing my financial struggles not as a failure, but as a wake-up call to get my act together. I began to ask myself, what can I learn from this situation? How can I grow from this experience? This shift in perspective turned my life around. Instead of feeling sorry for myself, I took action. I started reading more, learning more, and working on myself. I realized that every crisis holds a lesson if only we are willing to see it. Can a shift in perspective change the situation? Absolutely. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. It's not just a clever phrase. It's a powerful truth. The perspective shapes reality. If you see a crisis as an insurmountable obstacle, it will be. But if you see it as a challenge to be met, a lesson to be learned, it transforms into an opportunity for growth. Imagine you're driving on a road and suddenly there's a detour. You can see it as an inconvenience, something that disrupts your plans, or you can see it as an adventure, a chance to explore a new route. The detour doesn't change, but your experience of it does based on your perspective. I want you to reflect on a crisis you're facing right now. How are you seeing it? Are you focusing on the negative aspects, or are you looking for the hidden opportunities? Remember, a crisis can either make you or break you depending on your perspective. You have the power to choose how you see it. So let me share another example. A young man I knew faced a severe health crisis. He could have easily given up, but instead, he chose to see it as a chance to reevaluate his life and make necessary changes. He adopted healthier habits, focused on what truly mattered, and emerged not just physically stronger, but mentally and emotionally resilient as well. His crisis became a catalyst for a better, more fulfilling life. What can I learn from this? How can this situation make me better? What opportunities are hidden within this challenge? These questions shift your focus from despair to hope, from defeat to determination. And I understand that this isn't always easy. It takes practice and conscious effort, but the rewards are worth it. A positive perspective doesn't remove the crisis, but it empowers you to handle it more effectively. It gives you the strength to take action and the wisdom to make better decisions. If I think about the last crisis you faced, how did your perspective influence the outcome? If you had seen it differently, could the outcome have been better? These are important reflections because they highlight the power of perspective. In every crisis, there's a seed of opportunity. Sometimes it's hard to see it amidst the chaos, but it's there. Just like the Chinese word for crisis is composed of two characters, one representing danger and the other opportunity, every crisis presents both a threat and a chance for growth. But next time you find yourself in a crisis, remember to check your perspective. Ask yourself how you're seeing the situation and how a shift in perspective might reveal new solutions and opportunities. Your mindset is your most powerful tool in managing any crisis. Think about your own life. What situations are you facing right now? Are you taking full responsibility for them, or are you finding ways to blame others or your circumstances? It's a tough question, but an important one. Because the moment you take responsibility, you regain control. When I started taking responsibility, everything changed. I stopped waiting for someone else to solve my problems. Instead, I asked myself, what can I control in this situation? I started making better decisions, educating myself, and taking actions that led to positive changes. And guess what? My situation improved. Blame and excuses are pitfalls that keep you trapped. They might provide temporary relief from guilt, but they don't solve the problem. In fact, they make it worse. When you blame others, you give away your power. When you make excuses, you're justifying staying where you are. But when you take responsibility, you take back your power to change your situation. Let's talk about another important aspect, attitude. How you think and feel about a situation can significantly influence the outcome. Your attitude is your frame of mind. It's how you choose to see the world and your place in it. How does your attitude affect your ability to manage a crisis? If you approach a problem with a negative attitude, expecting the worst, what kind of results do you think you'll get? On the other hand, if you approach it with a positive, proactive attitude, looking for solutions and opportunities, the outcome is likely to be much better. Your attitude is something you can control. No matter what the circumstances are, you can choose to be positive and proactive, or you can choose to be negative and reactive. The choice is yours, and it makes a huge difference. So, how can you maintain a positive attitude during a crisis? First, focus on what you can control. There are always elements within your control, no matter how chaotic things seem. Concentrate on those and take action. Second, surround yourself with positive influences, people who uplift and encourage you. Third, practice gratitude. Even in the midst of a crisis, there are things to be thankful for. Gratitude shifts your focus from what's wrong to what's right, and that's a powerful change in perspective. How can your attitude improve your current situation? Reflect on that. Maybe you're dealing with a difficult job, a strained relationship, or financial troubles. Whatever it is, ask yourself how a shift in attitude might change things. Your positive outlook open up new possibilities. Did it help you see solutions you hadn't noticed before? Remember, your attitude is your choice. It's one of the few things you have complete control over. So choose wisely. A positive attitude doesn't mean ignoring the problems or pretending everything is perfect. It means acknowledging the reality of your situation and choosing to focus on solutions and opportunities rather than problems and obstacles. Imagine you're setting out on a road trip without a map or a GPS. You'd probably end up lost, wasting time and resources, frustrated, and far from your intended destination. The same applies when facing a crisis. Without a plan, you're navigating blind. You're reacting instead of acting, and that often leads to more trouble. Having a plan means you have a roadmap to guide you through the storm. It doesn't mean everything will go perfectly, but it gives you direction and purpose. A plan helps you stay focused on what you can control and make proactive decisions. When I was 25 and struggling financially, I was adrift without a plan. I was trying to patch up problems as they arose, but I had no strategy for getting out of the hole I was in. My mentor changed that. He helped me understand the power of planning. He said, Jim, you need a plan that's clear, actionable, and adaptable. Let's talk about how to create an effective plan. The first step is to define your goals. What do you want to achieve? In the midst of a crisis, your goals might be to stabilize your situation, reduce immediate stress, and start rebuilding. Clarity is key here. You need to know exactly what you're aiming for. Next, break down your goals into smaller, manageable steps. This makes them less overwhelming and more achievable. When I was working to get out of debt, my first step was to list all my debts and prioritize them. Then I created a budget to manage my expenses and allocated specific amounts to pay off each debt. It was a step-by-step approach that made a huge task seem doable. Then you need to identify the resources you have and those you need. Do you have savings you can use? Can you cut down on some expenses to free up more money? Do you need to learn new skills or seek advice from someone who's been through a similar situation? In my case, I sought advice from my mentor and read books on personal finance. Gathering the right resources is crucial. Another important step is to set deadlines for your goals and steps. This keeps you accountable and gives you a timeline to work within. When I set my plan to get out of debt, I set specific dates for each milestone. It kept me on track and motivated. Flexibility is also key. No plan goes perfectly, and you need to be ready to adapt. When new challenges arise, reassess your plan and adjust it as needed. During my journey, there were unexpected expenses that threw off my budget. Instead of getting discouraged, I adapted my plan to accommodate these changes. Do you have a plan for your current crisis? If not, it's time to create one. Start by defining your goals. What do you want to achieve? Be specific. Next, break down those goals into smaller steps. Identify the resources you need and set deadlines for each step. And remember to stay flexible and adjust your plan as necessary. Planning might seem like a daunting task when you're in the middle of a crisis, but it's essential. It turns chaos into manageable tasks, and it gives you control over your situation. Without a plan, you're at the mercy of the crisis. With a plan, you take back control. What are my immediate goals? What steps can I take right now to move towards those goals? What resources do I have, and what do I need to gather? How can I stay flexible and adapt my plan as needed? A good plan not only guides you through the crisis, but also prepares you for future challenges. It builds resilience. The next time a crisis hits, you'll have the skills and confidence to handle it because you've been through it before and you know how to create a plan. Take a moment to reflect on your current situation. Do you have a clear plan? If not, start today. Define your goals, break them into steps, gather your resources, set deadlines, and stay flexible. With a solid plan, you can navigate through any crisis and come out stronger on the other side. But think about your own life. Who can you turn to for support? It might be a family member, a friend, a colleague, or a mentor. The key is to identify those people and not be afraid to reach out. Sometimes we underestimate the willingness of others to help. People want to be there for you, just as you would want to be there for them. Building a support system starts with acknowledging that it's okay to need help. No one expects you to have all the answers or to handle everything on your own. In fact, reaching out for support shows strength and wisdom. It means you're aware of your limitations and are taking proactive steps to overcome them. Let's talk about how to build and rely on a support system. First, identify the people who can be part of your support system. These are individuals who care about you, who have your best interests at heart, and who are willing and able to help. They could be family members, friends, mentors, or even professional counselors. Once you've identified these people, the next step is to communicate with them. Let them know what you're going through and how they can help. Be honest and open about your situation. People can help if they don't know what you need. Sometimes just talking about your problems can provide relief and perspective. Building a support system also involves being there for others. Relationships are a two-way street. When you offer support to those in need, you build a stronger, more resilient network. It creates a sense of community and mutual reliance. So think about how you can support others as well. It's a cycle of giving and receiving that strengthens everyone involved. Who can you turn to for support? Think about the people in your life who are willing and able to help. Reach out to them. Don't let pride or fear hold you back. Everyone needs help at times, and there's no shame in asking for it. Sometimes your support system might include professionals. Don't hesitate to seek help from counselors, financial advisors, or other experts who can provide the guidance you need. Professional help is invaluable, especially when dealing with complex crises that require specialized knowledge and skills. Remember, a strong support system is built on trust and mutual respect. Be there for your supporters as they are there for you. Keep communication open and honest. Show gratitude for their help and offer your support in return. This creates a network of strong, supportive relationships that can withstand any crisis in life. Change is constant, just when you think you've got everything figured out. Something comes along to throw a wrench in the works, and during a crisis, the need to adapt becomes even more crucial. Flexibility isn't just about bending without breaking. It's about being able to adjust your approach, to pivot when necessary, and to remain resilient in the face of unexpected challenges. How do you handle unexpected changes? Do you cling to your original plans, or are you willing to adapt? Flexibility is not about giving up on your goals. It's about finding new ways to achieve them. It's about being open to change and ready to pivot when necessary. One of the best examples of flexibility leading to success comes from the tech industry. Companies like Apple and Google didn't become giants by sticking to their original plans. They evolved, adapted to new technologies, and responded to changing market demand. They remained flexible, and that flexibility allowed them to thrive in an ever-changing environment. So how can you become more adaptable? First, embrace change as an inevitable part of life. Accept that things will not always go according to plan, and that's okay. This mindset shift makes it easier to adapt when change occurs. Instead of resisting, you learn to flow with the current and make the best of new situations. Next, practice being proactive rather than reactive. When you anticipate changes and prepare for them, you're in a better position to handle them effectively. This means staying informed, continually learning, and being ready to adjust your plans as needed. For instance, if you're facing financial difficulties, proactively seeking new income sources or ways to cut expenses can help you adapt more smoothly. Another practical tip is to cultivate a growth mindset. This means viewing challenges as opportunities to learn and grow rather than as insurmountable obstacles. When you face a setback, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I improve? This perspective helps you see changes not as threats, but as chances to develop new skills and strengths. Let's talk about being resourceful. Flexibility often involves finding creative solutions to problems. During one of my challenging times, I realized that being resourceful was key. When conventional methods failed, I had to think outside the box. I networked more, sought advice from unconventional sources, and explored new strategies. This resourcefulness helped me navigate through the crisis and come out stronger. How can you adapt to the changes brought by your crisis? Take a moment to reflect on your current situation. What changes are you facing? How can you adjust your approach to better handle these changes? Maybe it means learning a new skill, seeking advice from someone with more experience, or simply being open to a different way of doing things. Whatever it is, flexibility can make a significant difference. It's also essential to stay positive. Maintaining a positive attitude helps you remain open to new possibilities. When you're flexible and positive, you're more likely to see opportunities where others see only obstacles. This mindset can lead to innovative solutions and unexpected successes. Let's not forget the importance of self-care. During times of change, taking care of yourself is crucial. Stress and anxiety can cloud your judgment and hinder your ability to adapt. Make sure to prioritize your physical and mental well-being. Eat well, get enough sleep, and take time to relax and recharge. When you're in a good place mentally and physically, you're better equipped to handle whatever comes your way. Build a support system of flexible thinkers. Surround yourself with people who are adaptable and can offer different perspectives. Their insights and support can be invaluable as you navigate through changes. As I mentioned earlier, seeking help and building a network of support can significantly enhance your ability to adapt and thrive. Every crisis presents lessons and opportunities for growth. It's often said that adversity is the best teacher, and I firmly believe that. Difficult situations can push us to our limits, but they also reveal our true strengths and capabilities. The key is to approach these situations with a mindset geared toward learning and growth. Think about your own life. What crises have you faced? What did you learn from them? It's important to reflect on these questions because every challenge holds a lesson. Whether it's a financial setback, a health scare, or a personal loss, there's always something to be learned if we're willing to look for it. Consider the story of a friend of mine who went through a devastating divorce. At first, he was overwhelmed with grief and anger. But over time, he started to reflect on what the experience was teaching him. He learned about his own strengths, his ability to forgive, and the importance of self-care and personal growth. This painful period became a catalyst for profound personal development. He emerged from it stronger, more self-aware, and more compassionate. Let's talk about how to encourage reflection and learning during a crisis. First, take a step back and assess the situation objectively. Ask yourself, what is this crisis trying to teach me? It's a powerful question that can shift your perspective from victimhood to empowerment. For instance, if you're facing a financial crisis, perhaps it's teaching you the importance of budgeting and financial planning. If it's a health crisis, maybe it's a wake-up call to prioritize your well-being. Journaling can be a valuable tool in this process. Write down your thoughts, feelings, and observations about the crisis. Document what's happening and how you're responding to it. Over time, you'll start to see patterns and insights that can guide your growth. I found that keeping a journal has helped me immensely in processing difficult experiences and extracting valuable lessons from them. Another important aspect is seeking feedback from others. Sometimes we're too close to a situation to see it clearly. Trusted friends, mentors, or professionals can provide valuable perspectives that we might miss on our own. Don't hesitate to reach out and ask for their insights. Their feedback can be incredibly enlightening and can help you see your situation from a different angle. Think about your current crisis. What can you learn from it? Reflect on this question. Maybe it's teaching you patience resilience, or the importance of relationship. Every crisis, no matter how difficult, has a lesson embedded within it. Your task is to find that lesson and use it to fuel your growth. As a growth often requires stepping out of your comfort zone. It means being willing to face uncomfortable truths and make difficult changes, but it's through this process that we become stronger and more capable individuals. Embrace the discomfort because it's a sign that you're stretching beyond your current limitations. Remember, growth is a continuous process. Each crisis we face adds another layer to our development. It's not about reaching a point where we no longer experience difficulties, but about becoming more adept at navigating them and extracting value from them. Life will always throw challenges our way, but with the right mindset, each challenge becomes an opportunity for growth. What is your vision beyond the crisis? When you're in the middle of a tough situation, it can be hard to see beyond it. But having a clear, positive vision of the future can make a world of difference. It provides a destination to aim for, a reason to keep pushing forward. How do you keep hope alive during tough times? It's important to focus on your vision. Take some time to imagine what your life will look like once you've overcome the crisis. Make that vision as vivid and detailed as possible. Write it down, create a vision board, or simply spend a few minutes each day visualizing it. This keeps your goal front and center in your mind, reminding you of what you're working toward. Break your vision into smaller, achievable. Sometimes the big picture can feel overwhelming, especially when you're facing significant challenges. By breaking it down into smaller steps, you make it more manageable. Celebrate each small victory along the way. These small successes will keep you motivated and hopeful. Surround yourself with positivity. Seek out stories of people who have overcome similar challenges. Their experiences can inspire you and reinforce your belief that you too can overcome your difficulties. Spend time with supportive and encouraging people who lift you up and remind you of your strengths and potential. Practice gratitude. Even in the midst of a crisis, there are things to be grateful for. Focusing on these positives can help shift your mindset from despair to hope. Each day, take a moment to reflect on what you're thankful for. It could be something as simple as a sunny day, a supportive friend, or a small accomplishment. Gratitude can significantly boost your mood and outlook. What is your vision beyond the crisis? Take a moment to think about it. What does your ideal future look like? How will you feel when you've overcome your current challenges? Keeping this vision in mind will help you stay focused and motivated. It's also essential to stay flexible and open to new opportunities. Sometimes crises can redirect us towards paths we hadn't considered before, paths that might be even better than what we originally envisioned. Be open to these possibilities and be willing to adapt your vision as you learn and grow. Take care of yourself. Physical and mental well-being are critical in maintaining hope. Make sure to get enough rest, eat well, and engage in activities that rejuvenate you. When you're well-rested and healthy, you're better equipped to handle stress and stay hopeful. Life isn't just about the smooth stretches. It's about the whole experience, including the bumps along the way. Embrace the challenges as opportunities for growth and learning. Remember that every crisis is a part of your story, shaping you into a stronger, more resilient. Think about the steps you can take starting today. What perspectives can you shift? What responsibilities can you own? What plans can you put in place? Who can you reach out to for support? How can you stay flexible and adapt? What lessons can you learn from your current challenges? And most importantly, what is your vision beyond the crisis? Take action today. Don't wait for the perfect moment because it may never come. Start small if you need to, but start. Each step you take brings you closer to overcoming your challenges and achieving your goals. Keep hope alive, stay positive, and believe in your ability to navigate through any storm.